300 years had passed since the Israelites moved into the land that God had promised to give them. Their families and their farms had prospered. And were they grateful to God? The Israelites had taken up a new trade, a new hobby, importing and worshipping foreign gods. The people adopted the gods of all the countries around them and beyond, and they completely forgot about the one true God who had given them the land. Perhaps they thought other countries would be friendly towards them if they worshipped their gods. But for 18 years now, they had been crushed by the Philistines from the west and the Ammonites from the east. Eventually, they came to their senses and they cried out to God for help. The Lord said, "What about all these foreign gods you've collected? Go and cry out to them. Let them save you." The people said, "We have behaved very badly towards you. We've done wrong. Please rescue us." They got rid of all the foreign gods and served only the one true God. And because he cared for them, the Lord helped them. Jephthah was a mighty warrior. His father had a wife who had had many sons, but Jephthah's mother was not his father's wife. Jephthah's half-brothers ganged up on him, and with the help of the leaders of the people, they chased him away because they did not want to share with him their father's money or his land. Jephthah was hurt. No one wanted him. So he went to Syria. There, a lot of men just like him, men no one wanted, who had no purpose. They gathered around him and they made him their leader. They would go and fight for anyone who would pay them. They were exceedingly good at this, and Jephthah became renowned for his daring deeds on the battlefield. Meanwhile, the Ammonites gathered and they marched against Israel. The leaders of Israel asked each other, "Who can we put in command of our armies to fight the Ammonites?" They all looked at each other. They knew there was only one man for the job. So some of them went with an urgent message to Jephthah. "Come and command our armies, and we will make you our leader." "Didn't you chase me away?" Jephthah replied. "Why come to me now you're in trouble?" The leaders of Israel said, "We have behaved very badly towards you. We've done wrong. Please help us." Jephthah must have known just how God felt. And like God, he said he would help them. Jephthah knew that war had a terrible cost and should only ever be the last resort. So he sent a message to the king of the Ammonites. "Why are you picking a fight with us? What is it that you want?" The king of the Ammonites answered, "When you lot came out of Egypt, you took away all our land from the Arnon Gorge all the way to the river Jabbok. Now give it back." Jephthah was famous for being a fighter, but also he'd been a good student. He remembered his history lessons from school, and he knew the Ammonite king was talking rubbish. He said, "Number one, that was 300 years ago. Why are you bringing it up now? Number two, it was never your land in the first place. It belonged to another tribe before us, not you. And number three, that tribe attacked us. And because they attacked us, the Lord God gave them and their land into our hands." The king of the Ammonites couldn't argue with that, so he ignored Jephthah. And then Jephthah added, "The Lord, the God of Israel, is the one true God. He is the ruler of heaven and earth. He gives the land to whom he pleases, and he gives the victory. He is the judge. Let him decide between us this day." Jephthah trusted God, and he placed his life and the lives of his troops in his hands. The Spirit of God came upon Jephthah, and he advanced at the head of the Israelite army against the Ammonites. But then he did something really stupid. He made a vow to the Lord. He said, "When I return in triumph, whatever comes out of the door of my house to meet me, I will sacrifice it as a burnt offering to you." Jephthah knew better than to do something like that. He knew that victory was a gift from God, not something you had to bargain for by promising to do crazy things. He knew he didn't need to twist God's arm to be kind to him. He picked up this bad habit from people in other countries where he had worked, who liked to show off by making extravagant vows before a fight. But the Lord was very gracious and good to Jephthah and the Israelites. He gave the Ammonite army into their hands, and they devastated 20 of their towns, and they conquered the king. News of their great victory ran ahead of the troops as they returned home. When Jephthah reached his house, who should come out to meet him but his daughter, dancing joyfully to the sound of tambourines. She was an only child. Except for her, he had neither son nor daughter. When he saw her, he tore his clothes and cried, "Oh no, my daughter, I have made a vow to the Lord that I cannot break." "Father," she replied, "you have given your word to the Lord. Do to me just as you promised, but grant me this one request. Give me 2 months to roam the hills and weep with my friends, because I will never marry." He let her go, and after 2 months she returned, and he did to her as he had vowed. The people of Israel kept their word and made him their leader, and he ruled Israel for 6 years. Not because he was a mighty warrior or a good student of history, not because he won a great victory and rescued Israel from her enemies, and certainly not because he was a good dad or because he was humble enough to admit he had made a bad mistake and ask for forgiveness. It was because Jephthah believed in God, because he trusted him, and he placed his life in God's hands. Jephthah's name was written in the book of life.